What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video today. Kind of a not kind of. It is a Dirkscussion on really wanting a knife but not buying it, or really wanting a knife, buying it, and finding out you didn't really want it. So one that comes to mind to me right now is the Spartan Blades Harsey. Okay, this belongs to Alex over at the Watch and Cut channel. He loaned this one in, has a Damascus blade, green anodizing, green thumb studs. It's super cool. And this is a knife that I've always wanted. Maybe not in this configuration. I know I want it with the Damascus blade. And maybe just standard, tumble titanium scales. Pretty plain. But this is a knife that every time it comes through, and I've done videos on several different models of these, that's why I am not going to do my standard tabletop, review of this knife, because I've done it many times. I don't know that there's any other things I can really say about it that I haven't already said, okay? And a ton of people have filmed these on YouTube as well, so I don't want to bore you with that again and again. But for some reason, every time I get one of these in hand, I kind of want one. Now, is that because Alex loves it? Is it because my brother owns one and he loves it? I think that all plays in. So today I'm talking a little bit about hype and why we buy what we buy sometimes, because a lot of people on YouTube and Instagram and on social media tell us it's fantastic. Now, one that comes to mind really was the Holt Spectre. Years ago, when they were the hot topic, I wanted one so bad. I had filmed a couple. I had taken them apart. I'd handled them. I'd carried them. I wanted one so bad. But why did I want it? I really think I wanted it because there was hype around it. Because everybody wanted one. I didn't want to miss out. The FOMO, the fear of missing out, I think is a real thing. I know it's a real thing. I've bought a lot of things because of that. But the Holt Spectre was something that when I got it, and I paid table price, my brother won a lotto. He already owned one or two. He was really big with the Holts and the whole Facebook group and things like that. So he won a lotto, sold it to me at table price, $850, let's call it. And I owned it for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple months, did some other videos on it, carried it a bit, but it was just too drop shutty for me. It wasn't my style. And I knew that after owning it. So we sold it. I didn't go crazy and sell it for $2,000, like a lot of people, $2,000 plus. I think I sold it for, 15-ish hundred. And I split that with my brother. I had already paid him for the knife when I first bought it. But whatever extra I got, I gave him half of, because that's what brothers do. I didn't have him buy it just so I could flip it. But that was kind of that FOMO, was I needed a Spectre because everybody had a Spectre. And I thought it would not make me something. I felt like I needed one. Another one that's really come to mind is the Coney Garris. And I had filmed a couple, and then I had an opportunity to buy one. So I did, because I thought I wanted one. I was happy with it for all of about 5 minutes, and I realized that, again, too drop shutty for me. It's not something that I want. I had a hard time selling that one because I had kept it too long, over the hump of its super hype, if you will. What knives have you wanted, bought in this category? Like, sometimes it's hard because you don't know what you don't know. You may see, like, another kind of really hot knife these days is the Shark Nivco Waka. And this is loaned in from a friend, Elias. It's not for sale. He just sent it in. And this is a total user for him. It's scratched all up. I still need to do the full video on it. It's scratched to heck. Probably needs a sharpening. But they're super cool. But I don't really want one now. I wanted one before when I had a Ryu. And this would have been a perfect match for my Ryu almost. I like matchy-matchy, as my friend Eric, Blades and Bullets, says. I do like sets. Same materials, same configuration, things like that. But this is a really hot knife right now. When they do drops, they're gone in a second. And the way they're doing it right now is they're doing, hey, we got 5 available at 5 o'clock tonight. They're gone in 2 seconds. I don't know that I want one. Almost because of the hype, if that makes sense. Now I'm kind of anti-hype. I try not to create a lot of hype on my channel. There are a lot of people that do want to create hype and buzz and all of that. That's just not how I do it. But sometimes you don't know until you get it. And that's kind of something with the Stan Wilson non-flipper flipper. I had handled one once before I bought this one. And while I love it, I don't know that it's a keeper. I'm not listing it for sale. Don't message me and say you want it. I'm not at that point yet. But, and this is nothing against the knife, now that I own it, I'm rethinking, should I own it? Why do I want to own it? I don't particularly love it. It's not comfortable for me to flip. And most other people have no problems with the flipper. They tell me I'm nuts. Maybe I just have little baby fingers and it hurts the pad of my finger when I flip it because of the way the action is. Okay. It's totally just a me thing, I'm sure. But do I want it because I love the knife? Or do I want it because I love the thought of the knife? The fact that there's not a lot out there. The fact that Stan Wilson is one of the original, high-end knife makers. He's forgotten more about how to make knives than most other knife makers combined even know today, right? He's one of those guys. OG, innovative designs, innovative mechanisms. And I love it because of the history of the knife. But maybe I don't love the knife. I don't know. It's one of those ones that literally may get sold for the right price. I mean, I don't know. I'm still on day 330-ish, 325 of carrying the King Battle, which I didn't bring in here. It's over in the other room on my dresser. So I haven't carried the non-flipper flipper yet. So I don't know. Jury is still out on that one. But I got it, and I was immediately like, did I make the right choice? And a lot of times we buy things sight unseen. Some pictures. Maybe somebody did a video on YouTube. That's why I do what I do. To try to show a lot of different knives, a lot of different things, so that people can get a better sense than just off the Blade HQ website or just off the Arizona Customs or whatever site you're buying stuff from. But don't buy into just the hype, I think is my point. I saw somebody doing one of those monthly subscription box things the other day, and I won't name who, but this person was doing a live unboxing of it. And they kept pulling stuff out, being like, wow, I didn't even know I needed this. I didn't even know this existed. And it was so much hype, it really, to me, felt like a paid commercial. Because some of the things that they were pulling out, I'm like, yeah, you didn't know it existed because it probably shouldn't exist. It's fluff and stuff in a box. I've never gotten into the whole monthly subscription box EDC survival box things. So I really can't talk about it, but that particular video that I caught just, again, kind of turned me off of it a little more, because that person was trying to build hype, but it seemed disingenuous to me. Now that's just me. They could have been completely on board. They could have been completely psyched about everything they were getting, and it could just be the way it was coming across to me on my phone as I watched. I try not to build hype. I do get excited over things that I love. Like when I got the Tim Gallion XL Junkyard Dog. I love it. I don't love it just because of the maker. It is a little bit too drop shutty for me, honestly, but the flipping action is incredible and different than anything I've ever felt. The quality, the way the materials are, and you'll have to watch the video if you want to know, but a lot goes into this. However, the pocket clip is super tight and not great in my pocket. It came to me dull, and I'm afraid to have anybody sharpen it. So it sits on my desk as a fidget thing, and it goes to shows with me so I can show people so they can experience that knife that they probably won't ever experience, because he's left the knife community. He's not making knives, hasn't made knives in years. There's not a ton of his customs out there. So I love the knife regardless of the history. Unlike the non-flipper flipper, where I love the history more than I love the knife, I think. So what's the point of this rambling video? Hype. Don't buy into hype. Ask the questions. Don't buy only because somebody is saying it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. If you really want something, buy it. And then be quick to sell it. I think that's my problem. I buy stuff, and then even if I don't really like it, I get emotionally attached to it somehow. Because I bought it from this guy who's a friend, or this guy who's a YouTube guy, or this guy who's a maker, this guy who's famous in our industry. So I keep it. Or it's been owned by only 3 people and I know all 3 of them. And, you know, I can always justify a reason in my mind to keep something. But be quick to sell. Kind of in business, I've read some stuff and seen some articles and videos on take your time hiring the right person, but then as soon as you know that they're not the right person, fire them right away. If that's a weekend, gone. We get stuck in this loop where we hire somebody and we know after about a couple of weeks they're probably not going to be the right people, but we want to give them a chance. 6, 9, 10 months later, they're still not the right person, but now we've invested all this time. We've invested all this energy. Now it's 2 years later, they still don't perform, but yet we hold on to them. Same with knives. We hold on to them too long, and then it's hard to sell later because the market has dipped and this particular item isn't hot anymore. So people don't want it. You got to sell it for half of the value. Just think about your purchases. Don't be influenced by people on the interwebs saying they're great. They may be great, but do you need it? Buy what you want to buy. Don't just go along with the crowd trying to get the most popular thing. I don't do that on my channel. All the knives I'm showing generally are older models. There have been a few companies have reached out to me, and I've been able to show a knife the day it's been released. I remember a Benchmade Bug Out that came out with a new aluminum scaled one. I got to film that before it was released. My video went up on the day of the release. Benchmade actually saw my video and reshared my video, and it got a ton of hits that day. Once in a while. I think there's been 2 or 3 knives that I have been able to show the day they release. But usually They're months, years later, because I'm not chasing all of the hype knives from all these Chinese manufacturers and whatnot to get them out the minute they come available in the market, because I'm not the hype guy. I just want to show all the knives. And yeah, generally they're late in the game, and that's okay with me. So, long story, sort of short and long, I don't know. Thanks for watching. Don't buy the hype, buy what you want. And if you decide you don't like it, just sell it off right away. No need to hold on to it. I don't do what I do. I got stuff back here in these drawers that I know I don't necessarily want, but I've mentally justified why I'm keeping it. Don't do that. Just sell them if you don't like them. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll put a playlist up here in the corner to my random discussion videos. A lot of things like this. A lot of tabletop down ones. But this one, I just felt like doing a face up, talking head, whatever you want to call it. Give you guys a little glimpse into me in that regard as well. So have a great day. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.